Alright, so moving on to the final segment. I'll be sharing my WWE Clash in Paris PLE summary. So, WWE Clash in Paris was a few days ago. I'll be sharing my PLE summary of all the matches that took place on the PLE card. So to kick off the night, you had Roman Reigns defeat Bronson Reed. Now, I thought this was a good match to kick off the show between Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. I mean, the crowd, and it was just electrifying there. And they ate into it. They had Roman Reigns had the crowd in the palm of his hands. You had the Tribal Chief versus the Tribal Thief to kick off Clash in Paris. And I think Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed actually have good in-ring chemistry with each other. This is a violent match with two Samoans beating the hell out of each other, pillar to post, as long as this match lasted. But Roman Reigns did make Bronson Reed look strong in this match. Even though he picked up the win, Bronson Reed did look very strong and losing effort in this match. I did like the spots that did take place in this match. You had Roman Reigns trying to spear Bronson Reed. I like the spot where Roman Reigns tried to spear Bronson Reed, only for Bronson Reed to catch Roman Reigns up and throw him up for a power bomb. I thought that spot was really good. Roman Reigns hit a Samoan drop from off the top rope that crashed a burn on Bronson Reed, that picked up the scraps, hit the spear, and pinned Bronson Reed to pick up the victory. Then after the match was the storytelling was on full display. Paul Heyman trying to check up on his guy Bronson Reed, only for Roman Reigns to put Paul Heyman in a guillotine submission chokehold that would basically send Paul Heyman to the hospital and take him out for the rest of the night. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns was aura farming with the crowd, making the crowd acknowledge him, signing his shoes and giving him out to the crowd, only for Braun Breaker to come out and spear Roman Reigns through the announce table. And the angle of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker beating the hell out of Roman Reigns, basically writing him off television, with Roman Reigns being taken off in an ambulance. I think that was a good way to kick off the show. And I think we're on a collision course, obviously, for a few months in November, with Roman Reigns and possibly Jey Uso and some others taking on the division of Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and two others that will join him. And what could be a really memorable War Games match that we could see at Survivor Series in a few months. But I thought this was a good way to kick off the show. Next match, you had the Wyatt Six. The Wyatt Six. It sounds like I'm saying six, but it's six. Defeated the Street Profits to retain the WWE Tag Team titles. I thought this was a decent match, but the story is starting to brew between the Street Profits of Angelo Ford and Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins not being on the same page. The WWE are basically teasing a tag team split between the two respective wrestlers. And the Street Profits, don't get me wrong, they have been one of the best tag teams in the WWE for a long time. And they've been together since their NXT days. But everyone knows how talented these wrestlers are. And a lot of people have been waiting for this tag team to break up so Montez Ford could possibly have a really strong singles push in the WWE, whether that's in the mid-card or become a main eventer one day. But Angelo Dawkins is a really good performer as well, so he could have that rub too as a singles competitor if these two tag team wrestlers were to split up one day in the WWE. But it was a good display of what all four wrestlers could do in a wrestling ring. Tag team wrestling was great. The sequences were good. The Wyatt Six used the numbers advantage to their advantage and retained the tag team titles here. So we'll see what happens in the upcoming weeks on the Blue Brand and Friday Night SmackDown between the Street Profits of Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Next match, you have Becky Lynch defeat Nikki Bella to retain her Women's Intercontinental Championship. Respectfully, I think this is the worst match on the card. There were some botches in between the match where Nikki Bella tried to hit an enziguri off the ropes on Becky Lynch where she completely missed. I think that was on both wrestlers there. And then there was some sequences on the outside of the ring where Nikki Bella was bouncing Becky Lynch's bouncing Becky Lynch's head off the announcer's table. And I know wrestling is fake, but can we make it look a little bit better? Becky Lynch's head wasn't even close to slamming off the announce table. It was Becky Lynch basically putting her hands down and just with the motions. Like this match just looked bad with sequences, and I think it's going to be a forgettable match when you think about women's wrestling for 2025. But Becky Lynch retaining the Women's Intercontinental Championship was clearly the right call. against Nikki Bella at Clash in Paris. Next match, you had Rusev defeat Sheamus in a Donnybrook match. This was a absolute banger in the words of Sheamus. Sheamus and Rusev hit it out of the park with this Donnybrook match. It was just a physical, violent, brutal match between the two respective wrestlers. They laid it all on the line. There was wrestlers. These wrestlers beat the hell out of each other, pillar to post with weapons. They were fighting by the bar area that was set up on the outside of the ring. The spots were great. I mean, the spots I enjoyed the most was Rusev slamming Sheamus back first through the bar, breaking the bar, the wooded bar area on the outside of the ring, with Sheamus going back first. The accolade submission hold that Rusev had locked in on Sheamus on the whiskey barrels, only for Sheamus to fight out of that submission hold and hit the white, carry Rusev on top of the barrels and hit a white noise, with both respective wrestlers crashing and burning through two tables on the outside of the ring. I mean, these are guys that are nearly 300 pounds, so when they're crashed through that table, it's probably like a car accident, a car wreck out there on the outside of the ring. The fans were eating that up, but the picture-perfect bro kick that Sheamus hit to only end up in a near fall, not to put away Rusev, was a good near fall spot, but the shillelagh being broken on Rusev's back on Sheamus was really the icing on the cake to end the match, with Rusev getting the victory over Sheamus, locking in that submission hold, basically choking Sheamus with the shillelagh. I can't remember how many times Sheamus is submitting in his WWE career. So this was good for Rusev to look strong here. This seems like this feud is over on the red brand of Monday Night Raw, sadly. But I think it's time for both of these wrestlers to move on in different directions. Rusev should be a really red-hot heel on the red brand of Raw. And meanwhile, for Sheamus, man, can we give this man a round of applause? I mean, this man is 48 years of age and still having banger after banger after banger. It's like this man has hit a new prime, a new peak in his career. And he's wrestling better, and he puts more effort into being in shape and having memorable matches than half of these wrestlers on the main roster. And that's a damn shame when you think about it. Next match, you had John Cena defeat Logan Paul. Now, this was actually a really good wrestling match. I know Logan Paul is hated by the WWE Universe. In my opinion, he's a really good heel, because you're supposed to hate a heel and like really like nothing about him, and you don't want him a part of your company that you like enjoying watching, or you don't even want him in the same wrestling ring with some all-time greats. But Logan Paul has proven why he is one of the great late start wrestlers, or one of the best celebrity wrestlers of all time. But he is great in the ring, and the match that he had with him and John Cena, they hit it out of the park. The wrestling was good. The near fall spots were good. I mean, there were some good spots that John Cena was making Logan Paul work in that ring. The tornado DDT that John Cena hit from the top rope on Logan Paul, landing him head first into the mat. The pop-up uppercut that Logan Paul hit looked like he paid homage to Cesaro, a.k.a. Claudio Castagnoli over there at AEW. John Cena Logan Paul hit John Cena's comeback set with the 5-knuckle shuffle on Logan Paul, but John Cena hitting the Code Red, I mean, he looked good hitting that. We saw him hit it on Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, and John Cena paid homage to AJ Styles, hitting the Styles Clash on Logan Paul, and John Cena put away Logan Paul with a few mistakes, with an attitude adjustment to pick up the victory against Logan Paul. I think that was one hell of a match, and I know that fans have wanted John Cena's retirement tour to be a little bit better, with having him wrestle against wrestlers like Dominic Mysterio, AJ Styles, Gunther, Drew McIntyre. But you got to say, how this retirement tour went, I think John Cena had one of his best matches in his retirement tour against Logan Paul. So you got to give Logan Paul his credit, and I think Logan Paul is world championship material. If he really truly invests more into WWE, I don't see why he's not a future world champion. So I got to say that was a really good match, and it's sad that Cena's only got 8 more matches or 8 more appearances until it's all said and done. But in the main event, you had Seth Rollins defeat LA Knight, CM Punk, and Jey Uso in a fatal 4-way match to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. I thought it was a really good fatal 4-way match. I thought all 4 wrestlers did their part, played their part, and were really good. The story was all 3 baby faces really wanted to put their hands on Seth Rollins and take the World Heavyweight Championship from him. All 3 were having valid reasons why they were deserving at a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. But all 4 wrestlers played their part in the match, making the match feel special. I mean, the spots were really good. There was a lot of near falls in the match, but LA Knight, I think, was the MVP of the match. And LA Knight trying to hit his signature elbow drop to Seth Rollins on the outside of the ring, only to crash and burn through the announcer's table. Seth Rollins catching Jey Uso with that spear mid-air into the pedigree. We've seen that him and Roman Reigns have that spot in the past. That was a really good spot with Seth Rollins and Jey Uso. But the sequences were really good, and towards the end of the match, it looked like CM Punk was going to put away Seth Rollins with 2 GTSs to win back the World Heavyweight Championship, only for Becky Lynch to come out and help Seth Rollins, cost CM Punk the match, with Seth Rollins retaining the World Heavyweight Championship after Braun Breaker was ejected from the arena. Bronson Reed was ejected from the arena. Paul Heyman was nowhere to be found in the arena after being taken out by Roman Reigns earlier in the night. But at the time, people were kind of questioning why Becky Lynch played a part in this, and now it seems like overall that we'll get a mixed tag team feud with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch taking on CM Punk, and the return of AJ Lee that we'll probably see very soon in the next few weeks, possibly as early as Friday Night SmackDown this week. So overall letter grade, I'll give Clash in Paris a B. I probably would have wanted more than just that sloppy women's Intercontinental Championship match. I know they're saving that Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky match down the road that we'll see at the next PLE, but overall I thought that everything was pretty good other than that Women's Intercontinental Championship match. I thought the Wyatt 6 and the Street Profits tag team match, they could have given us more, but everything else on the card was very good. So overall, I'll give that a letter grade of a B. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.